Hey there, it's Brebear, and today I'm going to be doing a May wrap-up and June TBR. Took me a second to be able to say May. Can you believe how fast this year is going by? Okay, so first I'm going to get into all of the books that I read this month, and then I'm going to get into the books that I'm going to read in June. Last month I didn't read as many books as I'm planning on reading this month because I still had exams the first week and because I needed to, you know, kind of get into the groove of things, and I didn't like really start heavily diving into doing some heavy reading until the past like 2 weeks. So I'm honestly hoping and thinking that I could get through all of these books and do more, but I am not gonna overwhelm myself and like go too crazy, so I limited myself as to how many books I was gonna put into my TBR. Especially because that way, if I have extra time, I can always pick up other books that I have on my shelf, and I don't have to stick with the books that I've selected specifically for this month. I'm going to go ahead and get started with what I finished last month. The first book that I completed this month was City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. This is the 5th book in the Mortal Instruments series. I have read the Mortal Instruments before. I honestly don't know how many times I've reread this series, but it is my favorite book series. The Shadowhunter Chronicles, not just the Mortal Instruments, but like the whole Chronicles in general is like my favoriteest series of books ever, especially probably mostly because they got me through such a rough time in my life. I started rereading all of the series so that I could read the Shadowhunter Academy. I love the Shadowhunter Chronicles, they're my favorite. The second book that I finished is Making Good Habits, Breaking Bad Habits by Joyce Meyer. I did this book as just like a Bible study type deal, and it's a really great book if you are looking into kind of just motivating yourself and getting into the habits that you want in your life and kind of getting rid of those things that you don't want in your life. But this book was very much a study for me, so I wrote in this. It's actually a little bit less than 200 pages, so it's a really short read. It's not like extensively long, very to the point, but with examples. One of the things that I love about Joyce Meyer is the fact that she really talks a lot about her personal perspective and experiences. The next book I finished is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. It is the last book in the Mortal Instruments series, and I was, like I said, rereading all of them so I would have it all fresh on my mind when I read the Shadowhunter Academy, and I'm really glad that I did that because I was able to pick up some things that I may not have been able to pick up if I hadn't reread these. And I hadn't been able to reread this one because people kept borrowing it, and every time I would get to it, somebody would still have it, so then I would just have to move on and read something else, and I never got to reread it, so this was the first time I actually got to go back and reread this big guy. The next book I completed is Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and this is a collection of short stories that Cassandra and a couple of other authors wrote based off of the Mortal Instruments series, kind of as a continuation. It's a lot like the Bane Chronicles if you've read that one, which also goes with the Shadowhunter Chronicles, and honestly I was surprised that I got so emotional. I literally was almost in tears. I'm not a crier when it comes to reading so much. I do get the feels really badly, but I don't actually usually physically cry. But I almost physically cried at this because it was like so quick. It's like I was not expecting it, honestly, I wasn't. And then I could see it happening as it went. Like as it was starting to happen, it like hit me. And I was like, no, this can't be happening. You need to read all of the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices before you read this book though. The next book that I read is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I am doing a Harry Potter read-along. I will link that down below, but if you have not read Harry Potter, just do it. The first couple books are not my favorite. I feel like Rowling's writing improved throughout the series. The first couple of books I feel like were more geared towards younger readers than the last few books are, because it was kind of like Harry grew up as we did. And the last book I finished was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling, the second book in the series of Harry Potterness. So that is everything that I have read this month. I have been doing some other reading in between reading the 2 Harry Potter books, and also since I finished that one, I went back to reading this other book that I've been working on, which is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Because Lord of Shadows came out last month, I wanted to reread this. Let's just take a moment for the cover. I am in the middle of rereading this, so that is my first TBR, and I should finish this. I might be able to finish this one by the end of the week. Another book that I started last month and will be continuing to work through this month is Living Vegetarian for Dummy by Suzanne Havella Hobbs. I have been wanting to kind of cut down on meat, kind of transition towards a more type vegetarian to vegan lifestyle because of health and humanity, lots of reasons. It's a really easy guide. It incorporates things from all different kinds of vegetarians, from flexitarian to the vegan. The next book that I would like to read is The Marketing of Evil by David Kuplian. I picked it up at a used bookstore in Pigeon Forge. It talks about things like anti-Americanism becoming commonplace and things behind the sexual revolution, parents until their children watch TV, blah blah blah. Basically, like, I thought it would be an interesting thing to read because I think it's important to read other people's opinions, because even if you don't agree with them, it helps you to form your opinions, regardless of if I actually end up agreeing with everything this guy says or anything this guy says. So that's the only other non-fiction book that I have. The next book that I plan to read is, of course, Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. I probably will be reading this like right after I finish Lady Midnight. I'll read this. I would just like to take a moment for whoever does Cassandra's book covers. I don't know. I need to find out if she does them or if somebody else does them. But I think that she has some of the most beautiful covers. The next book that I am planning on reading is part of the read-along, so it is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. And once we finish that one, we will be heading into Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. So this one's a bigger one. It doesn't have to be finished until the beginning of July, so this will probably be towards the end of the month that I dive into this one. I have 3 more books that I've selected. The next book is called Half-Lives, and it is by Sarah Grant. I don't know much about this book. I believe it is a sci-fi. Right, so Icy's parents gave her $10,000 in cash amount of a top secret bunker and instructions to get there by any means necessary. They have news of an imminent viral attack, and they know that the bunker is Icy's only hope for survival. She and 3 other teens live locked away for months, not knowing what's happening in the outside world, but who has survived. Then one day Icy discovers a shocking secret deep in the bunker. Are they really safe there after all? And that is the event. There's like, this is like divided into 2 sections here, so the event and we have now and the event. So for the event section it says, generations in the future, the world has changed and a mysterious cult worships the very mountains where Icy's secret bunker was built. People never leave the mountain. The people never leave the mountain because the people never leave the mountain. They're ruled by Becca, a teenager, and they have surprising ties to Icy. Icy and Becca must both fight to survive while protecting Icy that can destroy their civilization. This high-stakes, original, and thought-provoking adventure follows 2 unlikely heroes hundreds of years apart. The next book I'm planning on reading is The Lightkeeper's Daughter by Colleen Poble. And this is a Christian fiction novel that I picked up at Lifeway. Okay, so there's this girl, her name's Abby. She lives in this quiet world. Her father passes away, and then her mom is bitter and frustrating. And then this random stranger comes along and it's like, hey, you're not Addie Sullivan, you're Julie Eaton, a long lost child, feared dead by her wealthy family. So she is like, oh, well, maybe I'm actually rich. So I'm gonna go find out who the heck these people are, these Eaton people, and see if that's who I really am or what, and find out what's going on here. And then she like falls in love with somebody, she's like who she is, there's risk of her life, trying to find out about her past, and also there's this risk of losing this love, and blah blah blah. I've had it for a while, I haven't read it, it needs to be read. It's not very long. And the next book is The Painter's Daughter by Julie Clausen. Clausen is my favorite Christian fiction novelist. Silent Governess and Girl in the Gatehouse. Oh. This is one of her newer books that I haven't read yet. 2015, so it's been like out for like 2 years and I still haven't read it. If you haven't read any of Julie Clausen's books and you like romance novels, but not like icky romance novels, then these are really good because they always have more to the plot than just the romance, and that's what I really like about them the most, is there's more going on in the story and there's usually some pretty awesome plot twists in her books. So that is all of my books for my wrap up and TBR. So all of the things, if you want any reviews on any of the books that I did read or am going to read, let me know in the comments and I will tell you guys my thoughts on them. Trying new things, adventuring into the unknown. It'll be great. If you have any questions about the books that I'm planning on reading or did read, let me know in the comments. I will answer your questions. And I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and peace out, Girl Scouts.
Look for the bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your stress. I mean it, bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Yeah, bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your stress. I mean it, bare necessities.